Welcome to another edition of the End Zone along with Josh Calloway. I am Colby Daniels. Media days are in the books. Hard to believe that, we just finished the NBA season.
I know.
And we start to turn the page to college football. And just like that, Big 12 media days are over, SEC media days are over, and now we have this few-week stretch until practices get underway, local media days take place, and it is essentially, Josh, a tunnel vision toward the start of the football season, which is going to be here before we know it.
Oh, yeah. Football fever has totally begun. Like you said, the Thunder championship run, incredible. I think everyone's going to continue to enjoy that over the rest of the summer, but you get to media days, like you said, fall camp is just a couple weeks away, and openers are just about 6 weeks or so away for Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. It's getting exciting. Getting exciting times.
I'm really excited about this college football season, and I think nationally I'm really excited, not just with the local schools, but I think the overall picture of what college football looks like in 2025. I was at Big 12 Media Days a couple weeks ago. You were at SEC Media Days this week in Atlanta, Georgia. What was the overall vibe just in terms of the excitement for the college football season?
Yeah, very, very high. You know, Atlanta's a great venue, the College Football Hall of Fame. By the way, the wall of helmets with over 800 helmets of every single four-year school, including all the Oklahoma schools, all as tiny as you could think Oklahoma. They were there. Excitement is obviously very, very high, and the SEC is a conference that this year has got a lot of teams. I think they can win it. Some star quarterbacks back in the league. Oklahoma's quarterback John Mateer in that category. So excitement very, very high, and SEC Media Days were a good time this week in Atlanta.
What was your impression of the overall view of Oklahoma outside of like the OU media that obviously covered the team every day? Did you get a sense that people outside of Oklahoma look at this team as a real factor in the SEC, or maybe are overlooking this team as a factor?
I think that there is a very healthy respect for Oklahoma this year, truthfully. Around the conference, I think there's a lot of excitement about John Mateer. And look, Arch Manning was probably the single biggest draw of the week. His scrum took up the entire room. But few players had as big of a group around them as John Mateer yesterday, or on Wednesday, I should say. It was certainly a big talking point throughout the week is him and this Oklahoma offense being reinvented. I know some of the national SEC media guys are really high on Oklahoma being a big turnaround team in 2025. So I think OU's actually looked at pretty positively, even considering the disastrous year they had last year.
Well, last year was certainly a disaster, but when you look at how many close games they lost, and the offense was historically bad in terms of Oklahoma standards, if you're a tiny fraction better offensively, then, I mean, what does the record look like? Are you 8-4? Are you 9-3? I mean, there were winnable games, even with a historically bad offense, that they just fell short of. If the offense is significantly better, which I think a lot of people feel like with John Mateer and some of the transfers it's going to be, then, that should equate to maybe 2, 3, 4 more wins. But the question also has to be asked, is the defense going to be as good? I think it's going to be, but you lose some big-time leadership as well.
Yeah, you're losing some heavy hitters, Danny Stutzman, Billy Bowman, Ethan Downs, but they are replacing them with a lot of big-name players as well. They've retained a lot of their defense. They made just a couple of portal additions. They didn't need to make a ton, right? They got Kendall Daniels from Oklahoma State comes over, and Marvin Jones on that defensive end room to go with Mason Thomas, who was in Atlanta for SEC Media Days, a guy who I think a lot of people think could be first-round level of talent if he has the year that everyone thinks he could have. And then offensively, the confidence is certainly there. And it starts with John Mateer. He commands the microphone. He's a guy that it's not hard to see why teammates really like him and why Brent Venables has been gushing about him for months. There seems to be a genuine belief from Oklahoma that the offense is going to be much, much better. And you put that, like you said, with the defense, that probably results in a lot of wins. Like you said, last year they were still in a lot of games somehow.
Right. If you're a little bit better offensively.
Despite an offense that couldn't do anything.
Yeah, it might be. And the defense is probably a lot better if they're not on the field as much as they. I mean, that was a really good defense, even being put in the bad situations they were in. Speaking of John Mateer and the swag, Robert Spears Jennings on what it's like facing John Mateer in this new look offense every day.
He's very confident. He makes a lot of throws that a regular quarterback wouldn't throw. And once he makes that good play, you're going to hear it from him too. So that's the one thing I like about John, because he's not going to back down from nobody. And if he does a turnover, throw a pick, he's going to keep his head up and encourage the guys and get it right back.
You want your quarterback to have that swag, right? I mean, he's even getting the respect of the defensive players. And I know there are a lot of Baker Mayfield comps. And some of it is because of the playing style. He's undersized. He's crafty with his legs. But I think a lot of it has to do with the swag.
No, it is that comparison's been made a lot. And John is he'd been open about it. Like, he's kind of walking that line of, like, he's embracing it, but also, like, trying to acknowledge, like, I'm not trying to be Baker. But he also said pretty openly yesterday, like, I'm not going to turn down those comparisons. Baker Mayfield is a legend in college football and certainly at Oklahoma, so he welcomes it at the same time.
I loved him firing back at Robert Spears Jennings on what it's like to face that defense every day.
I hate facing the defense. I hate them, and they all talk, and they all freaking – but it's only because they're really good. You know, if they weren't really good, it'd get boring.
They said you talk too, so that's not –
Yeah, I say it's provoked, right, but it's a lot of fun. You play against the good players, it's the most fun. You know, like you want to play against slappies. Right. And those two and this whole defense is not full of those guys. Like, they are a lot of fun to play against. And you do it every day. You got to bring your hard hat every day. Like, you better play ball. So it makes me a lot better.
I think he's from a production standpoint, I think he's going to be a massive upgrade from what happened last year. And that's not necessarily a shot at the quarterbacks. It was an overall disaster. But you see the confidence there. It's beyond magnetic, and that's going to elevate the team as a whole.
I've said it before. I mean, obviously, at the end of the day, he's got to do it in games. He's got to play well and win, right? All of this doesn't matter if you don't win and play well. But he has done everything you could hope for. I think the confidence offensively last year was as low as it could ever possibly be. Yeah. And he kind of single-handedly has flipped it. I mean, I know it's Ben Arbuckle, and there's some other new players, Jay Knott certainly as well, but you're right. I mean, the personality, the leadership, just an absolutely perfect fit for what Oklahoma needed. And he's a great Venables guy, too. That relationship has really kind of come along over the last several months. He's just been a perfect fit for it. Again, you got to do it, actually play well, but so far, A+ for John Mateer as far as just the culture, personality, all that stuff.
Before we take a break, I got to get one more soundbite from John Mateer in, and this was your video actually from the breakout session. It gave me a good chuckle. John Mateer.
It's been great. He loves football, and he loves it. He's always in the building, talking defense, talking about what I need to do better, which is great. That's what I need. And he loves. We were on the plane ride over. He's talking about football. It's like, dang, dude. Just hang out, Nah, he loves it, and I appreciate the opportunity he's given me, and I'm really excited to see him coach.
Talking about Brent Venables there,
classic.
It's like, relax, man. Let's like enjoy the moment and not be football 24/7.
I love the idea because that's like probably what most people think. Like, I bet Brent Venables just talks about football all the time, and it sounds like that's exactly what it is. I also have the idea of them flying early in the morning, flying to Atlanta. They're having some breakfast on the plane, and Venables is crunching tape or whatever he's doing. It's great.
He's showing him like different defensive looks, or like, what are you audible to here? And
awesome.
Mateer's still wiping the sleep out of his eyes. It's so fantastic. The mental image of all of that going down is hilarious.
So good.
All right, along with Josh Calloway, I'm Colby Daniels. We're going to take a timeout. We're going to hear from another former Oklahoma quarterback on the other side, Jackson Arnold for the Auburn Tigers. That's next here on the End Zone. Welcome back to the End Zone, along with Josh Calloway. I'm Colby Daniels. We're still talking SEC Media Days. I know locally the focus was on Wednesday afternoon as Brent Venables took the podium, and John Mateer, R. Mason Thomas, Robert Spears Jennings were all made available. I thought there were some big storylines, though, throughout the week, and one of those was on Tuesday, and you had the opportunity to talk to former Oklahoma quarterback Jackson Arnold. The quarterback position was a popular topic of conversation last year with the offensive struggles. He goes to Auburn, and he's going to be starting for the Auburn Tigers, which, by the way, is Oklahoma's Week 4 opponent in Norman, which is going to be just an absolute spectacle.
Yeah, it's going to be insane. And we talked about it last week. Like, Jackson knew going in he's going to get a lot of OU questions, and he did. And his credit, he handled it all pretty well. I mean, he was pretty open about it. It doesn't sound like there's any ill will there. I think it was kind of just an understanding of, like, the season went really poorly, and there was a lot of reasons for that. Certainly Jackson feels he can play much, much better, as you would expect he would. And, he's, thought Auburn was kind of the right spot for him. He talked about Hugh Freeze's offense, feeling like it was a good fit and that sort of thing. But, yeah, he got a lot of Oklahoma talk on Tuesday. I think he legitimately did take probably at least just as many OU questions as Auburn questions.
100%. This was actually your video from Tuesday about, I guess, coming to face the Brent Venables defense.
Sure.
It'll be a challenge, and just like, every team you face in the SEC, their defense is going to be a challenge, man. I don't think just because it's Oklahoma, it's going to be, our whole season is grueling. We play a bunch of good teams, a bunch of good defenses, and Like I'm saying, it's going to be a tough one. Coach Venables is a fantastic defensive coach and great defensive mind. He'll throw some stuff my way, which I probably won't be expecting, but we'll just roll with the punches and go from there.
I love that he acknowledges already he's going to throw stuff my way that I'm not expecting. Like
100%, yeah.
If you're an Auburn fan, that almost sounds like, in some way, like admitting defeat before you even get there.
Well, it's like, Jackson's only experience with facing Brent Venables' defense is not good in fall camp and things like that last year.
1 year ago, right?
Yeah.
The conversation was like, this guy's not ready to play college football.
Sure.
Brent Venables' defense
Was
is
eating
making
him
him look horrendous in practice.
Yeah, forcing lots of turnovers and things like that, which that obviously then spilled into the season. So he knows. Like, he knows what he's going up against. He's obviously very complimentary of Brent Venables there. And that was kind of part of the theme, right? I mean, him being very kind of complimentary of Oklahoma and Brent Venables. No, like, sidestepping questions or kind of, you know what I mean? Like, he was pretty open about still, like, having fond memories of Oklahoma. And he said he's looking forward to going back. He said it will be weird, be on the other sideline, but he likes playing there. He's had a lot of good memories there. And so he looks forward to coming back. And Brent Venables, too, I was surprised. He went out of his way a couple of times to, by name, mention Jackson Arnold and say, kind of give him a pass for last year. Like, the offensive problems were not his fault or Michael Hawkins. Like, don't throw dirt on those guys just yet. I thought that was kind of cool of Brent to do. He didn't have to do that. He did that unsolicited a couple of times. So kind of cool to see that the relationship is still, seems like at least cordial.
Yeah. Well, two things can be true in that scenario, right? Jackson Arnold didn't play well.
Sure.
But it's also not necessarily all his fault for the offensive struggles. There were a lot of elements around him that weren't there that you were counting on going into the season for maybe why some of those struggles took place. OU Texas is a giant rivalry, and nobody is ever going to feel bad for the Texas Longhorns when something happens to them. Another massive rivalry is Texas A&M, and I know one of the viral moments of SEC Media Days was Steve Sarkisian, the Texas head coach, taking the podium to the Texas A&M Aggie War Hymn song. Check it out here. Do you think he even recognized that that's what was playing, or do you think he was just locked in on what he's doing?
I give him credit if he did, because it didn't faze him at all.
At all,
I guess his only relationship with that song, I mean, they went to College Station and won this year, so maybe he's not really fazed by it. But yeah, that's that is a major mix-up. I mean, imagine, Mike Gundy coming to Big 12 Media Days with Boomer Sooner playing or something. Unbelievable.
Or Texas Fight playing as Brent Venables walks out, right? That would be the same thing, and I would imagine there would be some type of reaction. So some people are predicting that maybe he had no idea what song was actually playing. I don't know. It was a funny moment, though, and the Twitter reaction was fantastic.
They got it right when he left, at least.
Yes,
when he walked off, they got it
right.
all right, they didn't go for two.
That is Josh Calloway. I'm Colby Daniels, moving the chains. Coming up next here on The Inside. All right, it's time for Moving the Chains. Along with Josh Calloway, I am Colby Daniels. You're familiar with this at this point, right?
Yeah.
I fire a question your way. You answer it. I'll give you positive or negative yardage. You got to try to pick up the first down. I've been pretty generous, I feel like, with my grading system because it's summertime, right? We're all in a good mood.
Sure.
We're all taking it easy. I'm throwing heat today.
All right.
So we're gonna be a little more critical of the answers.
Going against a better defense today.
Yeah, better defense today, as John Mateer has been doing in practice leading up to OU season. All right, out of the gate, what are the must-win games for OU in this 2025 football season, as obviously the non-con is significantly enhanced with the Michigan game week 2.
Sure. I'll say all the non-con games. Obviously, you can't. I mean, Illinois State Temple, it goes without saying, right? But I do think Michigan at home in week 2, I know Michigan's obviously a really good program, but that's going to be a freshman quarterback on the road, his first start. Obviously, that just sets a horrendous tone for your year if you can't win that game. That's a huge game. I would say Auburn's a must-win. You can't let Jackson Arnold come and beat you in Norman. You just can't. That's a huge one to start SEC play at home as well. And the other absolute must-win for me would be Missouri at home also. Again, at home, lesser team. You absolutely should not have lost to them last year. That was a disastrous game. Those are the absolute must-win, unforgivable losses, in my opinion, on Oklahoma slate. All the home games.
There are a few others that I think are borderline, and maybe you have to get one or two of these, but I don't think South Carolina is going to be nearly as good this year as they were last year. That defense took a massive hit to the NFL draft.
Yeah.
Clearly, the quarterback position is Sellers is going to take a giant step forward, but he wasn't asked to do as much last year because of the way they were built.
Sure.
He's going to be asked to do a lot more this year, so I'm kind of curious. I'm not as high on South Carolina as a lot of other people are. I'm also not as high on Tennessee as maybe other people are. I know that's a road game. If that were at home, I would say it 100%
I'd agree.
is
Yeah.
a must-win. But to me, it's kind of a coin flip being on the road. And then Ole Miss is another team that I think was completely wiped out via the transfer portal. And I know they brought a lot of talent in, but I think in terms of continuity, they shouldn't be at the same place that Oklahoma is, and you give Oklahoma the quarterback edge as well.
Yeah, I agree with you on Ole Miss. I should have included them. At home, too.
At home, yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, going on the road in the SEC is so hard. If you're going to win 8-9 games, you got to win at home. I mean, you have to. I mean, and other than LSU at the end of the year, Oklahoma should be, I would think, a relatively reasonable favorite in all their home games. So you got to find a way to protect home field. If you're going to have a good year, you can't be losing home games, simply put.
All right, I'm going to give you 2 yards on first down because I agree with the 3 that you mentioned. I was hoping you were going to give me either Ole Miss, Tennessee, or South Carolina.
Ole Miss was
in there,
a miss.
maybe.
I'll give you that.
Okay, all right. 2-yard gain. So
Knoxville's tough.
At least you didn't throw an interception on first down.
Yeah, I didn't lose
All
yards.
right, what OU players are you most excited to see play? 2 on offense, 2 on defense. You can't give me Mateer, though, because that's the obvious answer.
Sure. I'll go Jay Knott first off.
Okay.
That's the other obvious answer. But, Brent Venables, he very open. And some people took it as a slight at the other running backs. I think he's just being honest. He's a home run hitter. They have not had that at all at running back. The running back room was okay last year. It wasn't a problem. But they just have no big playability. Jay Knott is that. He can flip a game. So he's definitely a huge one for me. I'll also go with Giovanni Gibson. Very excited. I think, Brent Venables gave a very encouraging update on Giovanni Gibson. Said he's out of the boot. He's on schedule. I don't know if he's ready for the opener, but it sounds like early in the year he'll be there.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be an awesome part of this offense. Defensively, R. Mason Thomas for sure. We just talked about him. First-round level of talent in the NFL draft if everything goes according to plan, the way he can get after the pass rusher. And then I am all in on Kendall Daniels. He is a freak. Obviously we've seen him in state here, the last few years at Oklahoma State. Obviously he was an in-state kid. But, man, he's a perfect fit for that cheetah position. I just feel like he's one of those major, take the defense to the next level guys.
Yeah.
If he realizes his potential, so he's a big one for me, too.
So much versatility in what they can do with
he's
him
just a monstrous
in the box,
human,
in
too.
space. Yeah. So I agree with that completely. Giovanni Gibson, I got to be honest, because of the receiver position last year and the injuries, him being hurt coming into the season would have me a little worried. But Jade Knott is I think, got superstar potential without a doubt. So 5 yards on second down. So we've got a 3rd and 3. What are the 4 SEC coaches you would most like to hang out with?
Oh, boy, for Lane Kiffin for sure.
Okay.
Well, that one jumps out to me immediately.
Yes.
Who else in the SEC? Let's see. I'm more thinking of the ones I wouldn't want to hang out with
That
first.
list is probably easier to do.
That list is easier. Drinkwitz. Let's see. Lane Kiffin for sure. Running through here. Josh Heupel seems like he'd be a good guy to talk about the 2000 team and whatever else.
That'd be fun conversations.
Are we including Brent Venables? I guess
Sure,
we probably are. Let's throw Brent Venables in there, and then one more. We'll go with Kirby Smart.
Okay.
Just because he's got a lot of hardware, a lot of rings.
All right. I'm going to give you a yard.
A lot of good stories there.
Still a 4th and short.
I feel like I missed someone obvious.
Yeah, I'm sure you did, but it was a solid performance. All right, last thing before we go. We had the MLB All-Star Game swing-off, which I absolutely loved. I thought the drama was fantastic. What is your dream AL-NL matchup? Because Aaron Boone botched this for my American League squad.
So this is 3 each?
3 each.
Well, definitely Aaron Judge. There's no doubt about that. Aaron Judge, let's see. I'm trying to think of other AL sluggers. And the NL, I'll go.
Big Thumper, right?
Big Thumper, no doubt. Cal Raleigh for sure. In the NL, definitely want Ohtani in there. Let's go and get Schwarber. He was awesome.
Schwarber was fantastic.
Pete Alonso, why not? O'Neal Cruz could be good in the NL as well. I'm having a hard time thinking of a third AL guy that would be good.
Vladdy Guerrero.
Sure, let's see Vladdy.
There we go.
AL is hurting on stars. They're all in the NL right now.
Yeah,
It's
there
crazy.
you go. All right, we got to take a timeout. Best thing I saw this week, coming up next to wrap up the End Zone. All right, wrapping up the show, the best thing I saw this week, Jalen Williams at an airport from TMZ Sports. Take a listen.
I haven't really had time to take it in. I've been in summer league, watching my brother, so that's been very busy. But it's surreal. I know everybody kind of uses that term, but it's wild because it happened really fast. Within the span of 3 years, my life is completely different.
Completely.
But yeah, I mean, it's cool. I've been fortunate enough to retire my parents.
Oh, that's beautiful, bro.
New contract.
Awesome.
He's taking it in. His life has completely changed, and he's going to retire his parents, who have worked hard all his life to put him and his brother now in the NBA.
Yeah,
really cool.
That's the dream. That's awesome right there. And like he said, in 3 years from when they drafted him, everyone was kind of like, "Who is this guy?" to where he is now. It's crazy.
NBA superstar, and the wild summer of the Thunder continues. The world champions and Jalen Williams getting that new deal. All right, we've got more football talk next week along with Josh Calloway. I am Colby Daniels. This has been another edition of The End Zone.